Hi everyone. Okay, so you've been out recording a video and you've been braving whatever Mother Nature decided to throw at you. But when you come back to play your work, you discover that all your audio's ruined because the wind has hit the microphone. And as a result, you can barely hear yourself. So what you really needed to use was something like this. They're known as wind mufflers, windshields, windscreens, or rather unpleasantly, dead cats. And if you're planning on filming with an action camera in the wind, you'll definitely need one of these, but not ones this big. Oh no. More like that. Yes. So I've got the two different fluffies. Obviously that one. And this one. Now this one's got a small round base. It's lacking in substance a little bit. There's not a lot to it. This one, on the other hand, is a fair bit bigger. And it's got a big square base that gives it more area to stick to the camera. I'd be more confident with that one. Comes with these little sticky pads here. I can't pick up. And if you don't want to look like you've been shaving a gibbon, there are obviously other different styles and types to choose from. For instance, here we've got a full overcoat made from foam that obviously the little camera sits in. And we've got these little small square foam things. They've got a self-adhesive base already, which is really, really handy. And I've also got some sponge blocks that I made from a scouring pad. So as for cost, this one, let's call it Fluffy version 1, you get 10 of those for $9.99. Fluffy 2, you get 2 of those for $4.79. The foam body cover, obviously only get one of those, that was $6.95. The foam cubes are $6.26 and you get 6 of them. The homemade foam cubes, well, you can have as many as those as you like for a couple of quid, I should think. So does it matter what type you get? Well, I don't know. Let's find out. All I've got to do is start attaching these, and luckily I've got a small collection of DJI action cameras to play with. And I'm working on the theory that although there are slightly different microphone positions on the various cameras, wind affects them pretty much the same. I mean, they've all got microphones on the front, and from series 3 to 6, the microphones are pretty much in the same place. And after all, wind's wind, isn't it? Now, you can't specifically choose which mic to use because the cameras do it for you automatically. And they do that by using various combinations of the onboard mics. However, what they choose, well, that's dependent on whether you choose stereo, mono, wind reduction on, wind reduction standard, or off completely. So you kind of do have some control. Now, I know I've said before that this channel's all about testing straight out of the box, but on this occasion, it's a really easy tweak. And all the cameras use pretty much the same menu settings. And I'll tell you what, I'll do a short video about that soon. Very soon, I promise you. Right, back to what we were talking about. I don't want to rely on the onboard wind reduction systems that we've just been talking about, so I'm going to switch them off. And that's because this video is all about testing the different wind muffs to see which one works best. So we don't want to rely on the electronics. In a minute, I'm going to head out to the garden, as the forecast tells me it's going to be fairly windy. I'm not looking forward to it in the slightest, because I think it's going to be pretty chilly too. For our test, we'll start with the cameras free of their wind muffs, as I need to get a wind noise baseline. I need to see how bad it can be mufflers. Just to see how they work, basically. To do this, I'm going to read some random text to the cameras, and that sounds easy enough, doesn't it? Well, it should do, shouldn't it? You'd have thought so. However, when we were planning this video, we found ourselves spending far too much time working out whose work we could actually read a quote from. In fact, we found ourselves wrapped up in rights, permissions, and what could be classed as public domain and what couldn't be. And, well, basically, we finally came to the conclusion that we had to find someone that wouldn't object to me rehashing their work. So I gave us permission to misquote a segment from one of my videos on my other channel. Yay me. It seemed the easiest way round it. Okay, I'm going to go out now. I can't put it off any longer, and I think I'm going to need to wrap up pretty warm, so see you outside. Okay, this is the selection of cameras I'm using. Obviously, we've got the original action camera here. We've got the 3, the 4, the 5 and the 6th. Now, you've noticed that they're all being adorned by something. Oh, yes, indeedy. The first one, the original, has this lovely fluffy bits on its speakers. That comes from a company in China. That's directly from China. This is what we will call Fluffy 2. It's got its 2 fluffy covers there that's supposed to stop the wind. This one is very proudly wearing an virtually entirely covering sponge little coat. This one has the 2 square sponges on the front that I'm not entirely convinced by, but we'll see how that goes. And this one, well, this one is looking wonderful, isn't it? It is sporting the latest fashion in homemade spongy bits. I've cut them from a scouring pad and stuck them straight on. So hopefully that works okay. I'm not sure I'd want to go out in public with a camera looking like this, but it shows that you can do it. We'll have to see whether it works, of course. Okay, so let's go for the test with the fluffy and spongy bits on. See whether the wind picks up again. It seems to be quite gusty at the moment, so it's a bit frustrating, but yes, let's see how it works. So this is basically how it's going to work, or how it's working. I'm speaking into the cameras here once I've switched them on. They're about an arm's distance away, and which gives me enough room, I reckon, for the wind to whip round me and affect anything that needs to. I might be blocking them slightly, but hopefully not. So yes, let's get on with it. Hopefully we'll get a bit of gusty wind in a minute so you can see the difference. As I say, the cameras are all set to not have any software wind reduction going. So I will start reading and hope for a gust of wind. Whenever did you hear someone say that? Good heavens above. Anyway, so if you compare the Nikon ZFC to the original, you'll find it doesn't come near to the old Nikon's FM2 rugged engineering. If they met in a playground, the veteran would be skipping away with the new boys' dinner money. I certainly knew how to write then, didn't I? Anyway, but in truth it doesn't need to be as tough. For a start, it doesn't need to cope with moving parts like shutter blades, titanium or otherwise. The body is now made from a light magnesium alloy, as is the modern direction. It isn't aimed at the semi-pro or even as a semi-pro second camera. It is, however, designed to make old sods like me drool and cool youngsters question. I mean, what's not to love? It's got knobs and dials to play with, and not the modern flat spinny ones, but real lumpy, tactile, knurled ones that I remember fondly from my younger days. Now, hopefully that slight breeze that we've got here at the moment, because that's all I can say that it is going to be enough to actually cause a problem. Otherwise, this is going to be a very, very boring video. It's alright, I've got a second plan if necessary. This is with the wind reduction off completely, and with all the various fluffy things and spongy things on. So here we go. If you compare the Nikon ZFC to the original, you'll find that it doesn't come near to the old Nikon FM2's rugged engineering. If they met in the playground, the veteran would be skipping away with the new boys' dinner money. But in truth, it doesn't need to be as tough. For a start, it doesn't need to cope with the moving parts like shutter blades, titanium or otherwise. The body is now made from a light magnesium alloy, as is the modern direction. It isn't aimed at the semi-pro or even a semi-pro second camera. It is, however, designed to make old sods like me drool and cool youngsters question. I mean, what's not to love? It's got knobs and dials to play with, and not the modern flat spinny ones, real lumpy, tactile, knurled ones that I remember fondly from my younger days.
That is a heck of a northerly breeze wafting into my right ear. So I'm fairly sure that all cameras would have picked up on that. I'm half tempted to wait until it starts blowing heavily again. I don't know. Is it going to? It's rather frustrating because it seems a bit inconsistent. And now it's completely still. Here it comes. If you compare the Nikon ZFC to the original, you'll find that it doesn't come near to the old Nikon FM2's rugged engineering. If they met in the playground, the veteran would be skipping away with the new boy's dinner money. But in truth, it doesn't need to be as tough. For a start, it doesn't need to cope with moving parts like shutter blades, titanium or otherwise. The body is now made from a light magnesium alloy, as is the modern direction, or custom I actually should have said. It isn't aimed at the semi-pro or even a semi-pro second camera. It is, however, designed to make old sods like me drool and cool youngsters question. I mean, what's not to love? It's got knobs and dials to play with, and not the modern flat spinny ones, real lumpy, tactile, knurled ones that I remember fondly from my younger days. Okay, let's see how that goes. My right ear is getting extremely cold at the moment, because the weather's definitely coming from that direction. Certainly the wind is.
After looking at the footage, I came to the conclusion that the last test was just a little bit haphazard and unscientific. So I'm back in the office to retest using an artificial but constant breeze from this fan here. I've set it to max, which is about 5 miles an hour, according to my little anemometer, or my little whirly windy meter as I prefer to call it, because I can't say the other word very often. So let's get started. I use DaVinci Resolve to edit my videos. It includes a pretty impressive AI voice isolation tool. So at the end of this video, I'll show you how it got on with the worst of the wind interference. In the meantime, let me tell you a little bit more about the muffs while I test them. Things you never thought you'd say. The Furry 1 screens are really good value, but I reckon that once they're on, they'll need to stay on for good. I think they'll probably start falling apart if I pull them about too much. There's not a lot to them to begin with. Possibly they'll need to fall off naturally or be replaced. Mind you, I got 10 of them, so there's plenty in reserve for replacements. The double-sided stickers, or the sticky sponge that comes with both of the fluffy wing covers, are absolutely brilliant. I've finished with them, as you can see. But it looks like both the hole and shape are die cut, possibly as a special for the furries, because try as I might, I couldn't find anywhere to buy them. I tried buying some double-sided gel stickers to drill the holes out. It wasn't incredibly successful, it just became a jelly mess. A hole punch seems reasonably effective, but it gets a bit sticky. But seeing as a 10-pack of the fluffy ones comes with 20 double-sided stickers for $9.99, I'd almost be tempted to buy them just for the stickers alone. The little spongy outfit that the Osmo 3 is sporting is pretty handy. The only thing is, it doesn't seem to fit that well. Part of it keeps threatening to cover the bottom of the lens cover. It doesn't seem to be a problem, it's not covering the lens itself, it's just a bit irritating, and you have to keep moving it around to get to the buttons and things. The homemade sponge cubes keep falling off, but I think that's because they stick out so far. I tend to knock them, unlike the neat sponges that are on the Action 5 at the moment. Right, that should be enough for the test. What did you think? Okay, now, were you expecting that? I certainly wasn't. So the cheap little furry ones were pretty good. I'm going to give them 7 points. The furry 2s were much bigger and substantial, were actually the worst, so I'm giving them 3. The foam cover weren't a lot better at 4, and the foam cubes were a little bit better again, so we'll give those 5. Unbelievably, the overall winner were my homemade monstrosities, and I've given them 9. But they were so big and impractical that I'm deducting 3 points so they end up with 6. That means the fluffy ones did the best. I just want to make sure that it's not the mic position on the original Action camera, so I'm going to try them on the Action 3 now. Now, I'm not going to hear it until I finish this video, so if the wind is still noisy with the fluffy ones on the Action 3, then I will do a future video with the onboard reduction on, with both the wind muffs on and off, just to see how that works. And talking of the Action 3, here's what DaVinci can do with the worst at the flick of a switch.
But I reckon that once they're on, they'll need to stay on for good. I think they'll probably start falling apart if I pull them about too much. There's not a lot.
Impressive, isn't it? Why the heck am I bothering with mic covers at all? If you want to see more of me, then please subscribe, and if you like this video, then please click the like button. Until next time, take care.